Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today we're starting out a little red, but that's okay because get ready for Bitcoin's next big move. There are still so many things happening, great things, but today we got little macro scares. So let's talk about it, and let's talk about everything else that's going on in the world today. All right, let's do it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me move the price up a little bit. We're starting out the day at 106.7, slightly lower than yesterday. But you know what? We got some strong alts actually. Like for example, Ethereum and others are actually holding quite well. But why did we go down? Yesterday we were testing 110. It seemed like we were trying to break into all-time high territory once again. But today we did get some not so good macro stuff, or I should say just more Wall Street worries. We're starting out the day in the red today. If this updates, let's see. There we go. Starting out the day just slightly in the red, okay? A couple things that are not so good. Obviously, there was a Boeing plane that did crash in India. That's not good. 242 people did not survive. So that actually, that actually happened, and obviously that's never a good thing. But there are others. For example, the Trump unilateral tariffs. There were, a lot of them, if not all of them, were given breaks, basically extension before they took place, hoping that trade deals would be made. And right now it seems like not a whole lot of deals have been made, but this is the thing. People are worried about it. Trump says that he will, within weeks, reinstate all those tariffs. And unless deals are done, they're going to be paying. They're going to be paying. Or someone will be paying. Consumers will be paying. Or importers will be paying. Someone's going to be paying. So that's kind of the big thing for today. But you know what? Percent is like, you know what? For countries that are talking in good faith and not just talking for the sake of talking, if they're talking in good faith, trying to get something done, maybe we will continue or extend that pause, right? That's the only silver lining to this. Otherwise, it does seem like, yeah, those tariffs will be put into place, and that's no good. And we're still waiting for the end result between the trade agreement between the U.S. and China, right? We've been hearing a lot about it. Today's like day 4. We heard little bits and pieces of it, but yesterday it was announced that the tariffs against China would not change anymore. And some people took that as very bad because overall the tariffs will stay then at 50%, and that's not what people want to hear. So today I think we're led by some bad macro stuff. And there's one other reason too. I'll get to at the end of the stream. And then you got, of course, worried about yields. Okay, there's always a lot of worry about yields and rates and stuff. But the good thing is, the one good thing that came out today is the PPI. Yesterday we had the CPI inflation. Today we got the PPI inflation reading. And both showed that inflation is coming in less than expected for last month. That's good. That's very, very good. Which means the chance of a rate cut this month didn't do anything, but for next month, actually the chance of a rate cut for next month actually increased a whole lot. So you could see in about a week, we'll have a FOMC meeting, 2.7% chance of a rate cut. So it's non-existent. But next month, now it's jumped up to 28%. This was close to like 10% just last week. So now we have close to a 30% chance of a rate cut next month. And then if we don't get it, September is above 50%. So it's good. Inflation is coming lower than expected, although keep in mind, inflation is still ticking higher. And if these tariffs do get put into place right now, they are, paused. But if these do get put into place, then yeah, it will cause prices of goods and services to go up. So keep that in mind. Now, something that I saw, and I think a lot of you guys know this, but maybe not, but I got a good reminder from Michael Saylor. Those of you guys that watched his recent video interview, I finished it with Jordan Peterson. It's actually really good. But he makes a good point, and it's a good reminder that inflation overall, we use these indexes from the government, and the government looks at inflation by putting goods into this basket, okay? And then, those goods are very selective, and they're the ones that are not a really good reflection of the overall inflation of things that we use and things that we need to buy and things that we hold every single day, right? And last year, I remember, like with CPI, they removed coffee from the bucket out of the blue because it didn't align with what they were trying to portray, which is inflation isn't all that bad, right? So a general reminder is we get all these, we get the PPI, we get PCE, we get CPI, all these measurements of inflation. But in reality, inflation is a lot higher than what these indexes are portraying, because these are only looking at certain things. But if you look at the greater picture, you realize that inflation is a lot more than this 2 to 3% that they're trying to portray. It's more closer to like 7% a year. So if you don't have your money in an asset that appreciates more than 7% a year, you are getting more broke than you realize. Okay, so that's the main thing. And Saylor obviously knows that. That's why he's going all in on Bitcoin. All right, and it's the reason why so many are also flocking to Bitcoin ETFs. So we had 3 consecutive inflow days. Yesterday was a big one too, mostly from BlackRock. 131 million from BlackRock, total 165 million. So between the last 3 days, we're talking about $1 billion. $1 billion worth of inflow. Okay, so it's not just Saylor that knows this. Inflation is not a good thing. It robs people of their buying power. And over time, over a decade, you're going to be losing a whole lot if you don't buy an asset that appreciates, right? Or appreciates faster than inflation, I should say. You have to hold something better. And speaking of strategy, their new fixed income stock comes out called STRD. They already have Strife and Strike and now Stride. It's getting quite confusing to keep track of all of them. They have different kind of fixed income, basically like a dividend that you're getting. But the whole point is Saylor wants more Bitcoin. He raised $1 billion from this. And guess where that's going? Bitcoin. right? So he is going all out on Bitcoin accumulation. And I can't say that's a bad thing. If we knew what he knew, maybe we would all do the same and we would just go crazy for Bitcoin. Although most of us are doing that already, but not to his extent, not to the extent of actually raising billions and billions and billions to buy more Bitcoin. But hey, it may make him the first trillionaire or one of the first trillionaires on the planet soon within the next 10 years or so. Brazil is another country thinking about making Bitcoin or making a Bitcoin reserve. That's pretty big. Brazil is a big country, a big population, and they need it. Their currency isn't doing all that well. Overall, all currencies are not going to do well because they keep on inflating. Even the USD, even though the USD has been the strongest for the last 100-something plus years as a reserve currency of the world, but eventually it's going to collapse too. No matter how hard the Fed tries to save things, eventually it's going to collapse. Eventually something better is going to come along and replace it as a reserve currency. And that's due to this inflation that I've been talking about. Because governments will always print and always borrow and always accrue more debt. And that cycle never, ever ends until it crushes their system. Look at this. We got another fintech company that is going to raise $800 million to buy Bitcoin. Like I've been saying, every single day you get another company, another new company with existing companies loading up. More and more are following Saylor's footsteps. More and more are learning about Bitcoin. More and more are coming in. It's not going to stop. $800 million for Bitcoin. That's a lot. And then you got others. ANAP Holdings from Japan. Stacks a little bit more. Added 50 Bitcoin. Now they're up to 153. This is in addition to like Remix Point and obviously Meta Planet. So there are many, many, many that are accumulating at this point, right? As for our current run, even though today we did down slightly, very, very slight, we are still getting ready for that next leg up. And there are still many metrics that show that. CAGR, which is the compound annual growth rate, hits 31%. But what does that mean? What does that mean, 31%? Well, it means that a bull run is coming, because in previous times when this figure has hit, it's signaling a great move. Just like the funding rate right now. The funding rate is negative territory. That means not a whole lot of people are longing or even shorting at this point, okay? And normally speaking, this is a sign that a great move is happening. Because if we were already in a great move, funding rate would not be negative, it would be positive, because a lot of people would be playing with derivatives and playing with leverage. But right now, not so much. Again, this is another signal. It's hard to read, but another signal that people are waiting. People are expecting this next big move to come. And it does make sense because the reserves keep going down. Obviously, with all that buying I've been talking about, it has to come somewhere. Just look at that. The reserves keep dropping, and they're dropping faster than ever. It's not coming back up. No one's depositing their Bitcoin into the reserves. It just keeps on outflowing. So, increase buying, decrease supply, you know what's happening, right? Here's an example. If you're looking at a chart, this golden cross on the daily chart. Last time it happened, it was in October of 2024. You know, the golden cross happened, and then we waited a week or so, maybe a couple weeks. Didn't see a whole lot of movement, and then boom. We went from the mid 60s to over $100,000, a 50% move. A 50% move weeks after that golden cross. So are we going to see the same thing? Well, there have been a lot of predictions about our next leg up. Where will that be? Well, if we did a 50% move, I think you guys could do the math. That'll put us around 150, 160,000. And that's what this chart is showing, that we're in a bullish pennant. And when we break out, what is the next stop? 167,000. Although many other charts show like 130, 140, 150, right? But it's all lining up. So that next move, hey, it's got to be patient. It's going to come just like all previous times. Most of you guys lived through last year. Remember how sideways we went, or how long we went sideways? From basically February of 2024 all the way to October 2024. You could even see in this chart. You could say we were going sideways, but we also dipped down a little bit. So how many months was that? 8 months of sideways movement. A lot of people could have got out then. A lot of people probably did get out. But those that got out missed a 50+% gain shortly afterwards. This is why you want to stay in the game. You want to continue to hodl and DCA. And you know what? Something else that's coming up very, very soon is that Genius bill. So yesterday video I covered, yesterday there was a vote that basically pushed the Genius bill to now be actually voted. So there's like many processes. I don't quite get it, but now because of yesterday's vote and because of how many people voted yes to push to a vote, it seems like that Genius bill is going to be passed when it really comes up for a final vote in the Senate, right? And that supposedly is supposed to be coming within days. I don't know the exact date, but that is also something to look forward to. This should be coming up soon. And it's because, well, the US and others want this to happen because stablecoins are only going to increase. Percent says stablecoins could top 2 trillion by 2028. 2 trillion. Okay. There are a whole bunch of money right now in stablecoins waiting to come in, but stables are also being used for many, many, many transactions around the world, and also inside, DeFi and other things, right, that we use every single day. So this is also very, very big. Very big indeed. I don't know if any of you guys still remember Jack Ma's. Alibaba, Ant Group, they're also trying to come out their own stable coins. South Korea trying to come out their own stable coins. And these are all obviously much better than CBDCs. But it's going to be absolutely huge. And you know what else? Besides stable coins, just overall accumulation. Not just Bitcoin, everything. BlackRock, the largest asset manager on the planet, is going to increase their crypto assets to $50 billion. I argue they have more than 50 already. Okay. If you just look at their ETF, their Bitcoin ETF, even though it's supposedly not theirs, it's not very natural at all. On outflow days, IBIT still takes inflow. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, which is why I argue that BlackRock, they already have a ton and people don't even know about it. The way they acquire It's kind of all secret until people finally know. And when they get into a sector, they try to dominate. And it's pretty obvious. They want to dominate the Bitcoin market. They want to dominate crypto market. They finally realized that this is an asset class to be in. And we gotta accumulate as much as we can before they do. That's how you benefit from this. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Let's see. Did the U.S. market improve a little bit? Not really today. You know, people are worried about tariffs. People are just worried about overall how is the economy going to be doing with the tariffs, all that. If you look at stocks, the PayPal's up today. Hood is up. Surprisingly, Circle is down pretty big, but they've been going up like crazy. So a little profit taking. Coinbase and MicroStrategy barely down. All right, let's do some Q&A. If you look at this, if you look at the 1 hour too, RSI just reset. And that's a pretty positive thing too. All right, let's see. I move up. Let's see. Someone asked about syrup. I have no idea what project syrup is. Colton says the final vote on Genius Act is Tuesday the 17th. Thank you for that. I've been looking for that date, but thank you for the confirmation. So 17th. So that's next week. Next week. Do you think ICB will go to 50 by 50 by end of year? You know, I don't hear a lot of people ask about ICP anymore. Once upon a time, it was super hot. Last 17 days, up 17% though. That's not bad. Go up 50 from here. 10x, 8x. There's always a possibility. There's always a possibility, but I don't know. It was way too hyped when it first came out. But obviously it settled down. I don't hear a lot about what's happening in ICP, but there are a lot of people that are ICP fans. Gustavo, first of all, you should know the rules. You've been here for a while. Don't at me. That is a pet peeve of mine. and you're looking for strong DCA picks, that's what my DCA portfolio is about, which you can find on CryptosRUs.com. You go to tools, no, dashboard, you go see my DCA portfolio. So if you're looking for ideas, there are a lot there. But in addition, there are watch lists here that also gives you a good idea of some good ones. Whoa, I don't mean to zoom in like that. I also looked at this. So this is the liquidation heat map. And, yesterday we were pressing against 110. It looked like we didn't have enough momentum to liquidate the shorts up here. So right now, liquidating the longs. Guys like James Wynn and others. So again, this always happens when there's too many longs. Guess what? The market makers want to clear them out, bring us down a little bit, and then we recover right back up. Kind of like what happened here. Like we had this sharp drop down to 100 and then boom, a quick V-shaped recovery, and then we continue on. It's kind of like that. We could have a quick V-shaped recovery in the next few days, getting back to 110. Will Israel-Iran tensions escalate and drag in the U.S.? Maybe. It's been ongoing for quite some time. So all this war stuff definitely isn't helping. But today, if you look at it, yeah, it looks red, but it's not all that bad. It's basically just barely down. S&P barely down. NASDAQ barely down. We could easily flip up. I think today, maybe just a little profit taking. Last few days have been really, really good. For basically the entire week, it's been all green. But I think today is a little profit taking, clearing out leverage, and I guess people are still afraid of the tariffs that may be coming in a couple weeks. I do think leading up to it, you always have to have a deadline, right? You can't, if you're negotiating using this, you can't have an indefinite, ceasefire, I guess, for a while. You need to have a deadline so that it incentivizes countries to actually make a deal. So it's been rumored that India is close to making a deal. There might be some other big countries that's close to making a deal. So far, it's only been the UK. I suggest light ambient music to mask quiet time. I can't, because then I tried that before, and then my videos get hit with copyright protection of music. So it's very annoying. It's very annoying, especially on YouTube. If you play any kind of music, you get hit with a copyright strike, and I don't want that. Make my own music. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. That's too much work. VR, it doesn't seem like this is. I've seen you in here. I don't think you're new. Gambit, I already said don't at me. You may notice that no one else is. If you do it again, you have to go into timeout. What other conference are you gonna go to this year? You know, I'm debating that. The remaining ones are all overseas. Very, very far travel, long travel. You got to worry about, time difference and jet lag and all that stuff. And I'm kind of sick of traveling. I'm tired of it. So I'm gonna try to minimize, but everyone's inviting me everywhere, left and right. So I don't know. I think I'll have to go to Token again in Singapore, although I really do not enjoy Singapore's weather, and it's a freaking 24-hour flight to get there. So I'm not looking forward to it. But Token 2049 in Singapore, like Bitcoin conference this year was huge. It's amazing. Token 2049 may even be better and bigger. Last year they were. So it may be if you guys are looking for a conference, that may be the next one to go to. Steven says, whatever happened to meme coin you're going to release? Still thinking about it. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. You gotta find the right time, right? You can't just do it whenever. Like especially right now, memes are not hot, alts are not hot. When we are in full blown altcoin season and everything's going up by 5x, 10x, that's when I'll release my meme coin because I want it to make a big splash. Like I want it to go to $1 billion. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the right time. London Blockchain Conference. I've never been to London. I've been invited a few times. I would go, but I didn't even know they had one. Do I still build Lego? I just bought a whole bunch of new Lego sets. I keep buying Lego. I'm not building them, but I keep buying them. My collection of Lego, if you look at my Lego room, it's like going to a Lego store. I have so many unopened boxes, but Lego is just they keep coming out really, really cool stuff. Are you gonna give us some of your meme coin? Yeah, that's for the community. I'm releasing it for you guys. So, I had some people hold my NFTs. They will get airdropped a ton. People that are in my free communities, like Discord I opened, and paid community like Patreon, they will get large airdrops. I'll give out airdrops on stream for loyal watchers and subscribers, and I'm gonna figure out a way to just keep on airdropping. There will be a set supply. I already thought about this. I'm gonna be airdropping, and then we'll see what we can do with it. Skipping stones, I appreciate it. Do you prefer a stronger economy, inflation often accelerates and prices soar, or a weak economy, soar inflation? It depends, Kai, what kind of assets you hold. If you hold a lot of assets, then you want a stronger economy where assets are pushed upwards with inflation. The weak economy, you could actually see deflation, and that's not what you want. You want inflation. So you just need to make sure that you hold things that out appreciates, I guess, the average inflation, something like Bitcoin. George, Rolls Royce, Cullinan, or Urus? I would much rather have a Cullinan over a Urus. I've never driven one, but I'm assuming it's a lot more comfortable. I was looking at convertibles yesterday because I want to get rid of my G-Wagon, and I want to get a convertible. I really still want to get an LC500 convertible. They're so rare now. Somehow Lexus dealerships don't get them anymore. Lexus is not like producing a lot of them. And I was looking at like Carrera, Carrera S or regular Carrera, whatever. But they're just really expensive. Really, really expensive. People love 911s. And then I came upon a decently priced Continental GT, a Bentley Continental GT. It's a huge convertible with 4 seats. Even people can sit someone in the back. And it looks great too, but it's a little outdated. And I'm assuming the maintenance on a Bentley is going to be god-awful expensive. Memes, Madman says, memes are heating up on Arena, built on AVAX. Obviously I like Cock before. All the newer ones that's come out afterwards, I haven't been paying attention. Yeah, the cheapest good-looking convertible would probably just be a Corvette convertible. Even a regular CA you could take off the top. And Corvettes still look great. The new Vets look awesome. I used the Cullinan for my wedding car 2 months ago. Immaculate interior and has decent power. Yeah, I mean, any rolls. Doesn't matter if it has power or not. It's just a status symbol. Coinbase live streaming their State of Crypto Summit. Do you think it'll have anything interesting? It might. I don't know, but I don't see them saying an interesting. But I guess it depends on who they invite, right? I take that back. Brian Armstrong, good leader so far. I don't know who they're going to invite. Trump speaking via recorded message. Okay, well, the last few he didn't really say anything. The thing is, like I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to drive uncomfortable cars. I find all sedans to be somewhat uncomfortable now. So even though getting a Corvette would be cool, getting in and out of low sports cars is not something I want to do all the time. That's why I only drive SUVs now, besides my Ferrari, and I don't drive that much. So I don't know if I should swap my G-Wagon for a Corvette convertible when it's going to be very uncomfortable to get in and out of. skipping stones. Put 80 miles on your vet so far this year. Yeah, see, it's hard to drive nice cars around, but vets still look great. You know, for the price that you could get them at now, like you could get some in the low 70s, some in the high 60s. Like you really can't beat that. That's the one American car that is like the one to get if you can get it, and is super not super affordable, but it's a really good value. All right, guys, that is it. Stay strong, my friends. We got a slight little dip today, but we will recover from this, obviously. Okay, there's some macro scare right now, but so many good things still happening in the space. So make sure you stay strong, HODL, and DCA. All right, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one, guys. Take care.